the president dressing down Zelensky, whose people had done all of the dying to stop Putin short of the border of NATO. Vladimir Putin watches the video from the Oval Office, and what does he see?
Vladimir Putin couldn't be happier, Scott, because what he sees is all of the pressure on Zelensky, all of the pressure on Ukraine.
Stop that statement. All the pressure on Zelensky, period. Anything we discuss here has nothing to do with the cause and concern for the Ukrainian people. It's pretty simple. And I was set off this weekend by a post, a simple post. And it was this: I stand with Ukraine. Right? Do you know what you stand for? I'd like an explanation what you stand for. Do you stand for protecting NATO's border? There's a lot more to this story. I know, Donald, I got you. Don't worry. Because he sends a midnight message back to H.R. McMaster that you heard that Putin is happy. Really? So just continue to war indefinitely? Continue to fund and send American taxpayer dollars indefinitely? The argument's ludicrous. In its very essence, the argument is ludicrous. Never-ending war benefits no one. Well, oh, wait, it does. Because it assures one thing happens, and one thing only. I'm going to prove this out to you today, because I am still set off by this. Not by the post. Everybody has the right to free speech, absolutely. But please understand what you're standing for first. Because right now, what you're standing for, in its essence, is never-ending war. And on top of that, assuring that we, the people of the United States of America, continue to funnel our hard-earned tax dollars to every nation, because without those tax dollars, these nations don't stand. And that's the story I'm going to bring you in just 1 minute. I know, Trump, just hold on. Like I said before, I got you. We should spend less time worrying about Putin and more time worrying about migrant rape gangs, drug lords, murderers, and people from mental institutions entering our country so we don't end up like Europe. The very ones who sat in this meeting with Zelensky, emergency meeting called. And why do you think it's an emergency? To support Ukraine? Come on. I stand for democracy, but yet I cancel my own elections. No, we're going to go much deeper. Starmer, Zelensky, Macron, Meloni, Trudeau, look at them all. European leaders hold emergency meeting with the Ukrainian president after White House debacle. What are they worried about? What are they worried about? Because America is not as worried anymore, are they? No. All Trump did is shine a very bright light on a very big truth.
Holy Toledo, look at this trend line here. U.S. support for Ukraine is too much. Back when the war began, back in February of 2022, it was just 7%. Up like a rocket ship. My goodness. Up now in February of 2025 to 41%. And the clear majority of Republicans, and of course Republicans are in charge of the U.S. government now, 62% of Republicans say that the U.S. support for Ukraine is too much.
U.S. support for Ukraine is too much. Went from 7%, rocketed up to 41%. And it is too much. And the reaction of EU, we're going to arm up now. They're prepping their military. NATO, high alert. Why do you think that is? Why are they all pushing so hard for potentially the next world war? Why do you think? It's all about the G things, baby, ain't it? Except they don't got none. No, we do. And Trump is assuring that they don't get them anymore. It's the basis. I know you can tense. Aggravated, yes. Beyond belief, yes. And so we're going to define this further before I do, because I'm not going to want to stop. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're new here, welcome home. You found the place where I put news real black and white. Sometimes not easy to consume, but that doesn't mean we're not going to continue to dish it out, because it's what people need to hear, not always what people want to hear. They're two very different things. And today I'm going to extend this on, because Tucker Carlson puts out a post. Within the post, there are several incendiary statements made. I'm going to dig into those for you. I'm going to remind you exactly who Ukraine was before this all started. I'm going to remind you why Trump still has an axe to grind. And I'm going to remind you of what's happening with your and my tax dollars. So this is going to extend on to a whole different version. I hope you go to Restrict a Republic. It's the home Lisa Haven and I created for you. A home of the same news we provide here, but extended detail stuff we can only cover there on our exclusive content. And that's why we want you there today. It's your means of supporting me. For all of you that have supported these videos on this platform, thank you. It truly keeps the lights on. For those of you that have joined as members here, thank you. It keeps the microphones and cameras on. It means the world to me. I can't thank you all enough. And how I show my appreciation is by giving you more. That's the way it has to be. And to that point, let's continue this broadcast now.
But we need comprehensive security guarantees. This includes that we have to put Ukraine in a position of strength, that it has the means to fortify and protect itself, from the economic survival to the military resilience. It's basically turning Ukraine into a steel porcupine that is indigestible for potential invaders. And therefore the focus is not only on the military supply, but also, for example, securing the energy system and making sure that over time this is a strong and resilient country. The second element I brought to the table is that we urgently have to rearm Europe. And for that, I will present a comprehensive plan how to rearm Europe on the 6th of March, when we have our European Council to the leaders.
A look that's worth 1,000 words. Wait, I thought you were coming up with a peace plan. I thought you were coming up with a peace plan that you were going to present to the U.S. Oh, that's not what you just presented there. We're going to arm Europe, and I'm going to give you a plan to do it with a grin that just tells you everything you need to know about what's happening right now. It goes on. Starmer comes out next. Oh, of course he does. Wait, the new plan for Ukraine. Let's see what his plan is. And you see how they dropped economics into it, didn't they? Because that's the key. It's all about money.
First, we will keep the military aid flowing and keep increasing the economic pressure on Russia to strengthen Ukraine now. Second, we agreed that any lasting peace must ensure Ukraine's sovereignty and security, and Ukraine must be at the table. Third, in the event of a peace deal, we will keep boosting Ukraine's own defensive capabilities to deter any future invasion. Fourth, we will go further to develop a coalition of the willing to defend a deal in Ukraine and to guarantee the peace. Not every nation will feel able to contribute, but that can't mean that we sit back. Instead, those willing will intensify planning now with real urgency. The UK is prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air.
Boots on the ground and planes in the air out of one side of his mouth, and out of the other side of his mouth, that we're going to come up with a peace plan. Is it clear to you yet what NATO's doing? Because to me, it sounds like they're pushing for war. Oh, they weren't happy with what Trump did. Not happy at all. What was Trump's response? Not directly to this. No, he made it fairly clear Now Zelensky will have no choice but to back down and accept Trump's terms. He reposted this. But here's the genius part. Trump is actually protecting Ukraine without dragging the U.S. into war. Very accurate statement. But Zelensky's thumbing his nose at it. The EU's thumbing their nose at it because they're the ones who are going to fund this. Yeah, okay. By negotiating a mineral deal, Trump ensures that Americans will be involved in Ukraine's mining industries, although Zelensky already did a mineral deal with the EU, but put that aside for a second. This prevents Russia from launching an invasion because attacking Ukraine would mean endangering American lives, something that would force the U.S. to respond. So Trump wants his own mineral deal to assure that Russia knows we have interest there, understanding he would then have an upper hand against Putin to prevent further attacks, not by putting boots on the ground and planes in the air, extending a never-ending war. Trump played both sides like a master chess player. In the end, Zelensky will have no choice but to concede. Because without U.S. support, Ukraine cannot win a prolonged war against Russia, not with the EU and not with NATO, and I'm going to demonstrate why. And once U.S. companies have mining operations in Ukraine, Putin will be unable to attack without triggering massive international consequences. Light goes on. Before you post, "I stand with Ukraine," please understand what you're posting. This isn't a flag you wave in the air like it's happy, happy, joy, joy. This is a game of international consequences. Let the man negotiate. Don't underestimate Donald Trump in this game of chess. He's 10 moves ahead of everyone. I stand with Ukraine. Know what you stand for. Because you're actually standing for a very horrific consequence. If Trump is not able to finish this negotiation, if he is not able to hold back Vladimir Putin, that man with one touch of a button can start a conflict that no one, at a scale no one has ever seen. And Trump is not kowtowing to him. He is attempting to negotiate to keep U.S. troops and our troops' lives out of danger. And until you understand that, and if you can explain to me that you understand that, and you still want to post your banner, knock yourself out. But I assure you, beyond any shadow of a doubt, most don't understand that. The plan is for the UK to send soldiers to Ukraine, set them up to be shot by Russia or some horrific attack, and then NATO has to engage. And they think that the U.S. will have to engage. It's in the articles, not Article 5, it's actually Article 6, but Cernovich is a smart guy, so why do I state all this? Here's NATO's spending. Big UK, big EU, we're tough. We're going to stop Putin. Really? With what? 71% of our money? Trump pulls funding? There isn't any money. There's not enough for a prolonged war. Who are you guys negotiating with here? NATO defense spending. Who controls all of it? The vast majority of it. You got it. The U.S. We the people. EU and U.S. have committed most Ukraine aid. All the EU countries combined barely override the U.S. in spending. But if it came to a conflict, who do you think will pay the biggest price? U.S. troops. Our men and women of the military will pay the biggest consequence. And that 60 Minutes clip just turned my stomach when I heard it. But the EU, don't worry, they'll have plenty of... No, they won't. They can't even bring up their recruiting numbers. They don't have enough people to fight. Share this video, please, so people understand what's happening here. What they're going to drag us into if Trump isn't able to stop it. I can go through recruitment numbers. It's not hard to prove out. They can't get their younger generations to even commit to this. So what do they do? Draft them? And what's Baltimore Zelensky say? Army of Europe needed to challenge Russia. Oh, he knows all the cards, doesn't he? Army of Europe. No. No, there's only one military might that can stop Russia. And it's not the EU. It's the USA. The UN, I was going to play it. Because Trump pulls their funding, what happens to them? We can't operate anymore. We can't operate anymore. Ongoing liquidity crisis hindering United Nations' ability to retain geographically diverse, skilled workforce. What does that mean? Oh, the U.S. stopped funding us, and now we can't operate. What happens to NATO when the U.S. stops funding them? They can't operate. So everything you're seeing, all these leaders, I wish I could find it quick enough for you, but I'm going to go back to this real quick. All these people on this stage have no cards to play. All they have is us. But what are they doing here? They're showing Putin, who, yeah, he's laughing, but not at Trump. He's laughing at them. Because Putin knows where the money comes from. U.S. may halt all military aid to Ukraine. The Washington Post. Oh no. What are you going to do? Stick U.S. troops in there? Fly them all in? Just go ahead and welcome a conflict? Open it up, baby. Open it up, right? Then what happens? What happens when Putin gets aggravated and our troops start dying? You don't think there's a better way to negotiate this through? Boots on the ground, planes in the air. Even with all of it that's going on, what does Russia do? Just so you know Trump's moves. After the fiery clash between Trump and Zelensky, Russia said the Ukrainian leader got what he deserved. In another sign of easing tensions, Russia has named career diplomat Alexander Darchev, I think I got that right, as the new ambassador to the U.S., filling a role vacant since last year. They're bringing in their people. They see what Trump is doing. The potential for a peaceful resolution is right before our very eyes. But then why would the EU schedule an emergency meeting? Boots on the ground, planes in the air. It's almost as if they don't want peace. Wait. Because if there was war, then U.S. funds would have to continue to funnel in. Like goes on. I stand with Ukraine. Because this will no longer be the case. The U.S. cradling every country with our dollars. America as a republic, not as an empire. It is the great republic of the United States of America, not the great empire of the United States of America. Europe sound in fury after jaw-dropping pivots in U.S. policy, and they can't handle it because the funding is stopping. The bits are falling into a distinct pattern. By the way, let me go back one step. Alistair Crook did this amazing write-up. Defense Secretary Hegseth at the Munich Security Conference gave us 4 no's. No to Ukraine and NATO. No to a return to pre-2014 borders. No to Article 5 peacekeeper backstops. And no to U.S. troops in Ukraine. Why do you think he said that? Because he's singing from the same songbook as Donald J. Trump. Lindsey Graham had to back off, didn't he? Zelensky's best buddy had to back off because even he saw what's happening. And in a final flourish, he added the U.S. troops in Europe are not forever, no forever war, and even placed a question mark over the continuity of NATO. Continuity of NATO, apologize. Pretty plain speaking, the U.S. clearly is cutting away from Ukraine, and they intend to normalize relations with Russia to ease the conflict down, to stop Putin from pressing a button that changes our lives forever. You see, it's not about being a Putin fan. Trump is not a Putin fan. He doesn't want his fingers hitting that button. Then Vice President Vance threw his firecracker amongst the gathered Euro elites. He said that the elites have retreated from shared democratic values, canceling elections. They were overly reliant on repressing and censoring their people because no one wants a counter-narrative. No one wants anything, it appears, other than an ongoing war. So if you dissent against that, EU shuts you down. Shh. Because then U.S. money will stop coming in. How will we survive? The U.S., he implied, will no longer support Europe if it continues to suppress political constituencies, arrest citizens for speech offenses, and particularly cancel elections as was done recently in Romania. Cancel elections. Cancel elections. Keep the power base that we have. The ones who believe in... I know, say it. Please, put it in the comments. What was that? Never-ending war. Don't believe me? Listen to the man himself.
Zelensky said today that Russia is going to wage war on NATO. Do you agree with that? Do you have any concerns about?
No, I don't agree. Not even a little bit.
Because that's the argument. If we don't save Ukraine, Putin will attack all of the EU. Folks, seriously, that's your argument? That's your argument. Putin will simply spread his troops all over the European Union and take over everything. That's their argument. And we'd allow for that? You don't think then he would not get into a kinetic war? Of course he would. Of course he would. Are we still sending funds into Israel? Yes, we are. Because when he deems that the battle is worthy against an opponent that is not following the rules, he continues to support it. Because we have to. He believes that he will get Putin to the negotiating table and end the conflict before more Ukrainians perish in a horrific battle. A little passionate about this one, huh? One post set me off. One post. Follow me on Facebook, Justus Knight. You get to see all the fireworks. And then what does Berubio say?
Why is it okay to call President Zelensky a dictator, but not, as you say, call Vladimir Putin a?
I would ask everybody this. If there are no negotiations, what is the alternative? Another 4 years of war, another 3 years of war, in which the United States and Europe continues to pour billions of dollars into a war in Ukraine? Is that the alternative?
What is the alternative? They're all saying it. They're singing from the same book. It shouldn't be this hard to prove this out to folks. But it is. They truly don't understand it. Listen to what's being told to you. Quit the hatred of what men and women under the Trump administration are trying to do. They're trying to stop a war. And they're being mocked in the mainstream media, being ravaged on social media by those who simply don't understand a bigger dynamic.
Met with Zelensky this morning. I urged him to stay on message, be grateful, be thankful. We'll talk about details of security guarantees later. Keep it upbeat, keep it positive. It was absolute, utter disaster. The question for me is he redeemable in the eyes of Americans? most Americans witnessing what they saw today would not want Zelensky to be their business partner, including me, and I've been to Ukraine.
Do you know how big of a statement that is from Lindsey Graham? He's like Zelensky's #1 cheerleader. Even he backs down, but there's other reasons he's backing down now, isn't he? You see, there's bigger problems brewing. While the administration pushes to stop a war, we're seconds from disaster right now. Seconds from disaster. And I wanted to explain to you what you saw on your TV screens yesterday. I wanted to put it in perspective. I want to see if you support what I'm saying, if you disagree with what I'm saying. I hope I made it as black and white as humanly possible, because it boils down to a lot more than just this, doesn't it? Tucker Carlson. One of the most striking things about yesterday's Zelensky press conference was Lindsey Graham's reaction to it. The two are old friends, but Graham disavowed him within the hour. This was more than just transactional disloyalty. It was scapegoating. Lindsey Graham knows what's coming. Over the past 3 years, with tacit support of its Western patrons, the Ukrainian government has committed a remarkable number of serious crimes. 3 in particular. And as I continue on, you want to dig into the really sordid details of this whole deal? I'll explain to you exactly what it is. Man, it's always where the bodies are buried, where the skeletons are in the closet, isn't it? Ukraine is simply a door. A door for US taxpayer dollars in. But until you open that door, you can't really see where those going. Because I don't know about you, but I like my money in my wallet. And I want to know where it's being spent. And that's what I'm going to continue on with. Thanks for hanging in there with me. That was probably about 25 minutes of one upset son of a... I won't curse. But there's a reason for it. And please, for all your friends who may not understand the very simple dynamics of what could lead to the next World War, please share this video with them. I support everyone, I really do. I try hard. And everybody has a right to their opinion, but if you put your opinion out there, I reserve the right to retort against it. And I love doing it. And I love all of you for being here. Until next time, I hope you'll go over to restricted now. Get the tail end of this. It's going to open your eyes even further. Join our family. You can cancel anytime. We don't hold you hostage there. Pay your monthly. If you cancel next month, y'all good. Because I know once you're there, you'll go nowhere else. Because we replay all these videos with all the commercials and interruptions removed. It is just stone cold hard facts. Audience funded news the way it was meant to be. RestrictedRepublic.com. Get there as I continue on. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight signing out.